Hi guys, welcome back. So today I'm reviewing Song of Blood and Stone by Penelope. And this is a debut adult fantasy romance novel. It's the beginning of a new series called The Earthsinger Chronicles, and I really liked it. I gave this book 4 stars. I talked about it in my March wrap-up, but it is coming out this month in April, and I was asked to be part of the blog tour. So I decided to go ahead and do a review video. I originally got an ARC in exchange for an honest review from NetGalley, and those of you who've watched enough of my videos probably know that, like, legitimately I give honest reviews to my ARCs. Like, I have had a 1-star rating on one of those. I think this was a really interesting book. It wasn't a perfect book, and I will get to that, but I liked it a lot, and I liked a lot of what it did. I think in a lot of ways, even though this is a fantasy novel, this is a book about race and about racial identity and biracial identity and interracial relationships. And I thought it was really interesting and did a really good job. I loved the main character. Jasminda is this just really strong and powerful young woman. Her mother was Elsiren, which they are lighter skinned, and so it's obviously kind of similar to a white thing in this world. And her father was Lagamiri. They have darker skin, but the thing that people really get upset about is that they have magical abilities, and people fear them because of their magic powers. If you guys are thinking, wait a minute, I've seen this before. Yes, you have, frequently, and it works. I think it's good. N.K. Jemisin does this in the Broken Earth trilogy. Tomi Adeyemi does this in Children of Blood and Bone, where there's, this thing of having dark-skinned people with magical abilities that are oppressed and hated and feared because of their power. And I think it just works really well. So our main character, Jasminda, is biracial. She has inherited magical abilities from her father, and she looks like her father. She looks darker skinned, and so therefore she is treated in that way culturally. So it's really interesting, I think, because it is this sort of commentary on what is it to be biracial, and why is it that, like, what was it that there was something that I was reading recently that actually commented on this, where it was talking about the fact that in America, I think it was in Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, which I recently read, great book. But in that book, one of the things that she says is that in America, Blackness is about phenotype, not genotype. It's not about your genetics, it's about the way that you look. And so if you look black, you are treated as if you are black, which I just think is so interesting. For those of you who don't know, I have biracial children, and so this is really interesting to me in particular, this sort of thing of, like, how do you form your identity based on these things, and how does that affect the people around you, and how does society treat you as a result? So I just found this really fascinating. So the plot of the book is that she has magic, she's now orphaned, her family has all died, and she is struggling to hold on to her home in this country where her magic is feared, where her people are sort of outcasts and on the fringes of society. And part of the reason is that the Lagamiri come from a country across a magical border that is, like, very oppressive. It's a very oppressive country, but they are sort of at war with the country that she lives in. So there's that aspect going on. In the story, she stumbles across a wounded Elsiren soldier named Jack. So he's lighter skinned, right? Doesn't have magic. He's being pursued by this brutal unit of Lagamiri soldiers who've somehow managed to get across the magical border and, like, don't realize it. And so she is drawn into this centuries-old power struggle where race plays a really big role and things begin to happen. And so you get this plot, you get magical things happening, but really I think you get a lot of commentary on race and race relations. You also get some stuff on anti-refugee sentiments, which I think is also quite pertinent given things that are happening politically in America, and I liked that. I liked the way that that was portrayed. There's also a degree of a romantic relationship between Jasminda and Jack, the soldier, who turns out to be more than maybe you think he is. And so you get bits of that as well, of, like, the power dynamics of it in a racial relationship, and when there's class differences, and there's just a lot of stuff that gets played with here, and I think it's really interesting. I think it's a really strong debut. There was a lot of adventure, a lot of intrigue. I liked it. I definitely want to continue on with the series. Places that I think it could have used work. The world building I wish would have been stronger. I think it's an interesting world, but I really wanted more from it. I also think that the magic system could be more well defined. It's an interesting magic system, but I want to know more about the rules and the way that it actually works. The other thing that kind of sometimes pulled me out of the story a little bit is that it's unclear the role of technology in this world, because you get these like flashbacks sometimes to previous periods of time in the world, which are kind of interesting, but in the current day and age, there's technology like telephones, not cell phones, but landlines and trucks. So it feels like earlier 1900s level technology, but there's not really a discussion of like why that choice was made and how that fits into the world. So I sort of wish there was a little bit more of that, because I can't tell if it's just that it was convenient to have that technology or if it was like planned to be built into the world. So I wish there had been a little bit more of that. But overall, I did think it was a really strong debut novel. I'm curious to see where she goes, and I thought that the social commentary was really interesting and really well done. If that sounds interesting to you, definitely go check it out. It'll be available on May 1st. Again, it is The Song of Blood and Stone by Penelope. If you guys like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.